Whoa, whoa. It's WrestleMania 38. Hello, and welcome to videos again. Yes, I know it's been a while, but yes. Yes, it's WrestleMania weekend. Huzzah. I will not be... Actually, I will be. I will be doing my predictions for both NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, not Stand and Deliver. I will also be doing WrestleMania for both Night 1 and Night 2. For there are 2 nights to this WrestleMania, so there'll be a lot to this episode. So, first for NXT, there's not longer TakeOver, NXT Stand and Deliver, which is tomorrow afternoon. Toxic Attraction, which is Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. And this is for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, Toxic Attraction have had these for a while, and I have a feeling that tomorrow's going to be the day that Toxic Attraction lose their title. I think tomorrow's going to have a lot of title changes, I feel. So, I think that Raquel and Dakota are going to win, because Raquel's just come back. Actually, no, hang on. There's always that thing of if they hold the belts at the beginning of in the last taped TV show before the pay-per-view, if they're like, wait, we have the titles, they're not winning. And that's exactly what happens with Raquel and Dakota. So maybe they don't win here, but they win later on. So I'm going to say Toxic Attraction to win here. Then it's a fatal 5-way ladder match for the NXT North American Championship. And so this stars Carmelo Hayes, who is the champion, with Trick Williams in his corner, versus Santos Escobar, versus Solo Sikoa, versus Grayson Waller, versus Cameron Grimes. Now, I think that Carmelo Hayes will retain here, because there's no reason for him losing, because I don't think they want him on the main roster yet, and I don't think he's ready to be in the NXT Championship yet. Actually, he could be. He could be Braun's next opponent. I don't know. But yeah. I think Carmelo Hayes will win there, because... Well, Santos Escobar could, but he's already had it, I think. Did he? Yes. Was it that or the Cruiserweight? No, he had the Cruiserweight title. Yeah. Solo Sikoa could, but I think he's the person to defeat Carmelo Hayes, but not yet. I think there has to be a singles match. I don't think Solo Sikoa should win via a ladder. I think Solo Sikoa should win via power, because he's very strong. And Roman, as I'll explain later, because they're related, Solo could be like, Roman could mention like, oh, the bloodline even leaks into NXT, one of us is champion as well. That kind of thing. Grayson Waller, no, don't like Grayson Waller. Cameron Grimes, he could, but no, I don't think so. Not today. Well, not tomorrow, rather, anyway. Tommaso Ciampa versus Tony D'Angelo. And this is just a straight singles match. And this is probably going to be Tommaso Ciampa's last match in NXT before he goes up to the main roster, which is sad, but apparently it seems like all things are indicating that that's going to be the case. Him versus Tony D'Angelo, I feel like they always tend to make people lose on the way out. So, for example, with Johnny Gargano, he lost on his way out as well to Grayson Waller, I think. Was it Grayson Waller? I think so. And then he just left the company. But Tony D'Angelo, I feel like will win to send Tommaso Ciampa off to the main roster. Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade versus Io Shirai versus Kaylee Ray for the NXT Women's Championship, with Mandy Rose as champion. Now, I have a feeling that Mandy Rose is definitely losing here, I feel, because at the moment, apart from Carmelo Hayes and the tag team champions, all of the champions are people who are like older, because there's this whole thing about NXT that they want like younger stars to be champions and stuff, and yet they've got Dolph Ziggler and Mandy Rose, who are main roster people who've been on there for years. So I feel like they're going to go pass the torch in a sense to the new people, and then allow more people to do it. I don't know about the other people in the match, though. I don't know who's going to win. Because Cora Jade, I don't think she's ready yet, because she's quite young. I feel like her and... not Cal. Is it Raquel? Who's the one who she's been? I think it is her and Raquel. Yes. I think she needs to go after the tag team championships first. Io Shirai could, but had it a while back, and she's just returned. And then Kaylee Ray could as well. I think then, honestly, I think that Io Shirai's gonna win. Probably. I don't know. But I think it's because she's just come back, and they do like her. Like, she was champion a couple of years back, and that was very good. And she beat Charlotte for it as well, which is quite a big thing. But yeah. Next match. Imperium, so Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel, versus the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed, with Malcolm Bivens, versus MSK, Nash Carter and Wesley. This is for the Tag Team Championship. Now, this match should be great. Should be. Because most of the time, tag team matches on NXT tend to normally be better than on the main show. That not going to be the case this year. I'll get on to that. But for this, do Imperium retain? Yes, I think Imperium do retain. I think what they want to do, have Imperium... spoilers for the next match, but I feel like they're going to try and get Imperium with all the gold on NXT, like they do with NXT UK, and then somebody beats Volta/Gunther before he goes off to the main roster. Yeah, so I think Imperium retain. And also we need a lot of retention because I'm booking a lot of title changes, apart from Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes, and I think the tag team should retain. I think all the others should change, but I'll explain that later. Next match, LA Knight versus Gunther, who used to be Walter, but they changed his name for some reason. I think, again, this is similar to Tommaso Ciampa, where LA Knight this is going to be his last match in NXT. I think he's going up to the main roster, because the fans love him, and he is great. And I think him debuting the Raw after Mania on the main card, on the main roster, would be a big thing. And he's a person who I think Vince would love, because he's big, he can talk, he's very charismatic. So I think Gunther's winning here. Obviously, he's Gunther. Well, he's Walter. I'll just call him Walter, because I prefer that name. I think Walter's going to win quite decisively, sending LA Knight off to the main roster, where LA Knight can go into the US title feud, have LA Knight versus Finn Balor, which should be a wonderful match to watch. Or maybe LA Knight versus Ricochet. Same argument there. Dolph Ziggler versus Bron Breakker for the NXT Championship, with Dolph Ziggler as champion, as I said. And again, Bron Breakker's winning here because they can't keep Dolph Ziggler as champion for too long, and unless they're sending Bron off to the main roster, which I don't think they should do yet. They should keep him on NXT a bit longer. Let him be the champion, and then let somebody big. I think Walter should be the person to take it off Bron Breakker for him to go to the main roster, but that shouldn't happen for half a year. And yeah, and Ziggler needs to go up to the main roster again because we need more tag teams, and SmackDown maybe. I can't remember what. I think the Dirty Dogs are on Raw, so maybe send them across to SmackDown on Raw after Mania, bring them back up as well. And yeah, they can be the tag team on SmackDown. Because SmackDown needs more tag teams because all they have is Usos, Viking Raiders, and there's another team. What's they called? I'll be on here. But yeah, it's the Angel Garza and thingy. Why have I forgotten his name? Angel Garza and Humberto. That's him. Pardon me. Now, on to WrestleMania Night 1, which is tomorrow. Well, tomorrow night / kind of Sunday morning. Each. So this is not necessarily in order for what's going to happen, but I'm just going to go through it as it is, because, yeah. So, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair in a singles match for the Raw Women's Championship. And I think that this is probably one of the best told stories going into Mania, and it's an accident. Because they had the whole SummerSlam thing where Becky squashed Bianca in about 18 seconds, however long it was, to become champion. And everyone went mad because it was like, oh, Becky's turned heel for one, but she never pulled heel promos, which was odd. And Bianca looked weak, which is a bad thing. Then you had the Crown Jewel match, and that kind of restored credibility. Now, getting to here, it seems that what they're doing is that they're trying to set up the fact that Bianca's going to get retribution for SummerSlam here. And some people think it might be a squash match, which would be interesting for Becky Lynch to be squashed at Mania, considering she's one of the 4 horsewomen. But I have a feeling that Bianca's definitely winning here. And there are rumours that they're going to do hair versus hair, or hair versus title or something. And later down the line. But I have a feeling that Bianca will just win anyway, so yeah. Anyway, next match. Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, the Mysterios, versus The Miz and Logan Paul. Wow. This is just a tag team match. But Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, going into this, for about a year now, they've been teasing Dominic turning on Rey. Not in that way, for he is his dad. Going against his dad, and then you can have, later down the line, you can have, maybe at SummerSlam, Dom versus Rey. For ownership of the, maybe, mask, what would it be? It'd be a career match, so kind of Rey has to retire, maybe. And so Rey retires to his son, gives him the mask, and then Rey kind of becomes his manager or just goes away for a bit, potentially. But yeah, I think The Miz and Logan Paul are winning here because I feel like that they're going to do the heel turn tomorrow night. Because that makes sense if you do. Because it's like they try and do WrestleMania moments, and considering this is the first proper Mania. Last year's was kind of proper, but not really because they only was allowed a certain amount of fans. This is the first time they're allowed max capacity again. So I think, yeah, Miz and Logan Paul are winning here, sadly. And also most of the time the celebrities tend to win in their matches, which I'll get into later as well. Next match, a match that should be good technically, but is not good storyline wise, and that is Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss in Happy Corbin's corner. Because Drew and Corbin and Moss have been feuding for about 6 months now. And Elimination Chamber, Drew nearly murdered Madcap Moss accidentally. Because I think Madcap Moss, when he did the Alabama Slam, Madcap Moss's head kind of hit the mat, and kind of his shoulder, and that could have broken his neck. But yeah, that didn't happen, and now they're doing Drew versus Corbin. I think Drew's going to beat Corbin, go on, and because the rumours are that Drew and Roman are going to have a feud after Mania. Whether that's for the title, we'll get on to later. But yes, Drew's apparent. The schedule is that Drew and Reigns are going to have a feud. But yeah, Drew to win. And get his sword back. Get Angela back. Yes. The next match is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and that is the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. And I think this is where the Bloodline starts to lose the gold, or blue and silver. But yeah, I think Nakamura and Boogs are winning because apparently for some reason they're very behind Rick Boogs. And well, he's very athletic. He harkens back to the 80s, like that kind of wrestling, like kind of very strong, muscular. And I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura was champion a couple of months back, and he was Intercontinental Champion, and now they're just kind of putting him in a tag team again. But yeah, it's fine. I think giving him the tag team championships allows, because the Usos have had it for they've had it since Money in the Bank last year, because Ray and Dom won it, and then they lost it to the Usos on the pre-show, if I remember rightly. But yes, there's a tag team match here, which originally was going to be a 3-way match, but I'll explain in a minute. Which is the New Day, so Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch, and Butch is Pete Dunne from NXT, and they changed his name because I don't know. So a few weeks back, Ridge Holland was having a match with Big E, and Ridge Holland dropped Big E on his head and broke Big E's neck. And Big E is, not fine, but he's not paralysed. He's not... There's no issues with... he might not be able to wrestle again, potentially. Apparently, but yeah. I think they're doing this match in honour of him. And this was originally going to be a 3-way. It was originally going to be Big E, Xavier and Kofi versus Sheamus, Ridge and Butch. So Butch would be wrestling, but he's no longer wrestling because it's a 2-way unless they did a handicap match better, and then they can do that. And even though Butch is there, I feel like they're going to get Xavier Woods and Kofi to win because they can have a big thing of they're doing it in honour of Big E and it'd be nice. I don't know how well he can walk, but if you can have Big E come out and maybe at the end and be very celebrity, maybe even come out on the ramp and Xavier and Kofi after they've won go up the ramp and hug him and be hey. And the next match is an interesting match because we don't know. Seth Rollins versus TBA in a singles match, and Mr. McMahon is going to announce the opponent on the night. So probably Rollins will be in the win in the ring, and then Mr. McMahon will come out and be here's your opponent. That's Vince McMahon, and the rumours have been for a while that Cody left AEW, Cody Rhodes, and he's going to WWE, and they're going to have him in the Seth match, and they've been teasing it, and then apparently it's not happening. And then yesterday or the day before, it was announced that Shane McMahon, who has been released from the company after the Royal Rumble stuff, has been announced for this WrestleMania. They don't know what he's doing, but it would be a big trolling of the fans if he was the TBA and he fought Seth. So you'd have Shane versus Seth. And there's 3 ways of this. There's 3 options for this TBA. Either just Cody comes out, Shane comes out and is interrupted by Cody and beaten up by Cody, and then Cody goes in the match anyway, or it's just Shane. And I think in every case, I feel like TBA is winning. Like, even if Shane is the person, because I don't know what. Because then, if you're going to set... Because if Cody's backing out of WrestleMania, apparently, and he wants to debut later or tomorrow, you could have Shane win tomorrow night, and then on Monday, Seth gets really annoyed and says, that is not the match I wanted. That is not the match. I was against a thumb, and that didn't work. So, I want to fight somebody proper. Cody's music hits. He debuts Raw after Mania. Which you get a big pop, because it's Raw after Mania. Anyone who debuts Raw after Mania always gets a big pop. And, yeah. Because they'll want Cody in there. Anyway, yeah. Or Seth comes out in the second night and is like, I didn't do very well last night. That was not what I wanted. I want another go. Mr. McMahon, give me something. Give me another member of your family. Give me Triple H. Like, well, they can't say that because he's retired. But, like, oh, bring me somebody else. Bring me another member of your family. Anything. And then there's only one Raw family. Adrenaline in my soul. Blah, 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 Cody Rhodes. And then Cody comes out. But yeah, TBA to win. In any case. And the final match on the card, but probably not, it's not the main event, I don't think. And that is Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's title. Now this feud has been shit. Because Ronda cannot do a promo to save her life. But I think Ronda's still winning anyway. Because what they like doing is they like getting rid of a title from Charlotte, she'll win another one back, and then she'll... Because they want her to beat Ric Flair's reign, because Ric Flair's been released, they can say, oh, she's won the most titles in WWE, ooh, and that stuff is... But yeah, Ronda's winning here. And then there's the main event of the night, but it's not on here because it's not a match, but it's happening. It's definitely happening. They've announced it, which is Kevin Owens is hosting his KO show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the rumours are that it might just be a brawl. It might just... Because if it's a talk show segment and then it just ends, that'd be shit. So it's either going to be an elongated brawl, where Stone Cold does get physical quite a lot, or it turns into a proper match, because Stone Cold says he wants to go out on his own terms, and I think allowing Kevin to pass the torch allows for that. So in the case of the match, I'm going to book that Kevin Owens wins with the stunner to allow for so it's like a passing of the torch, so Kevin Owens kind of inherits the Stone Cold kind of character rather than Becky. Anyway, night 2, huzzah. The first match on this card is Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I think Rhea and Liv are winning here because they're the only proper tag team. Because Zelina and Carmella, they're definitely losing, I feel, because the way that they've set it up. Sasha and Naomi, they kind of joined together a little bit. They're kind of a tag team, but the thing is that they're a thrown together tag team. I mean, Rhea and Liv are thrown together, but they seem a lot more friendly with each other than the other teams. Yeah. So yeah, I think Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan are going to win here. And this should be a good match because it's a 4-way tag team match. Yeah. The next match. Johnny Knoxville, the guy from Jackass, versus Sami Zayn in an anything goes match. Which is basically like it's like no holds barred, Extreme Rules, that kind of thing. So it's not a false count anyway, but it's like they have to be pinned in the ring. But I think Johnny Knoxville's winning here because he's a celebrity. As always, most celebrities tend to win at Mania. Apart from maybe Shaq in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32, but apart from that. Yes. And considering it's an anything goes match, that means that all the Jackass cast are going to get involved. which they will, and they're gonna beat up Sami Zayn. They're gonna like thingy, and then Johnny Knoxville's winning. I feel like they can even if Sami Zayn loses here, like he's been amazing in this feud. This feud's been very good. I like this feud, and Sami's winning. Like Sami will go out of this still looking good, even in defeat, because of what he's done previously. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory next, which is a singles match, which, a few months back, or a couple of months back, there was that interview with Mr. McMahon and Pat McAfee, and the rumours there was that it was going to be Pat McAfee versus Mr. McMahon at Mania, which ended up not happening. It ended up being Austin Theory instead, but for a minute it looked weird. And I have a feeling that Austin Theory's winning here, because even though Pat McAfee, yes, he's a celebrity, well, he's not a celebrity, but he's a football player turned commentator turned wrestler. Pat McAfee can lose this because he's a commentator, and so he can just go back to commentating. Because if he wins, he'll have to continue wrestling, and then he has to get taken off of the commentary table. But he's improved Michael Cole very much, so you don't want to do that. So I think Austin Theory is winning here, and it allows him to maybe go into a US title feud with Finn. That'd be nice. Yeah, because I think an Austin Theory Finn Balor match would be great, and then you can give Austin Theory the US title if you want. That can be like the big thing that he does. Anyway, next match, which will probably be the best match of the night, apart from two other matches, but this should be very good. RK Bro, Orton and Riddle, versus the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, versus Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, which is for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I think RKO Bro are retaining. I think they want them to break up eventually, and there are rumours that that might be the SummerSlam match, is Orton versus Riddle, to kind of maybe Riddle wins and kind of gets pushed quite heavily, potentially having a feud with Brock. Who knows? Which probably will never happen, but you know. But yeah, I think RK Bro winning here. I mean, the rumours are that Street Profits might be turning heel as well, because they've been acting heelish recently, so they might be properly turning heel at Mania. And then Alpha Academy, they could this is quite a hard match to pick, because any of these teams could quite easily win, but I think I'm going to stick with my guns and say RK Bro, because I've been enjoying them recently. I've been enjoying the Raw feuds, the Raw Tag title. The Raw Tag title division is actually very good. The SmackDown Tag title division, not very good. NXT is good, and yeah. Next match, which is another contender for best match of the night. Edge versus AJ Styles. It's just a singles match. And this feud's been very good as well. Edge turning heel properly, got a new theme, dresses differently. He's been very, very good. He's always better as a heel than as a face. And him versus AJ is he'd wanted this match for ages. I don't know. But yeah, I think AJ Styles is winning here. Because if they're pushing AJ Styles as a single star, AJ kind of maybe gets bumped up into a feud with Roman again. Because the last time, after Mania 32, the first feud that AJ had after Jericho was Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules 2016. That, even though people hated Roman, really enjoyed that match, because it was it was just technically good. And revisiting that feud with AJ, if Roman was to win both titles, which I'm kind of spoiling now, but yeah, AJ Styles is it. Oh no, but this is to unify. I'll speak later. Yeah. But yeah, I think AJ Styles is winning. Last minute match added here: Bobby Lashley versus Omos. Now, this match has some issues in the fact that anybody who loses, there's a bad thing. Because if Bobby Lashley wins, then Omos's big singles push is kind of wasted because he's not won at Mania. And if Omos wins, Bobby Lashley's just come back, and Bobby Lashley was world champion a couple of months back, and is now losing to Omos, and it kind of diminishes him and his return. So maybe I'm going to say Omos is winning here, I feel. Because I think Bobby Lashley has at least the ability... Like, Bobby Lashley is more likely to bounce back up the card than Omos would if he lost. Because Bobby Lashley is a better wrestler, honestly. I mean, he is. Now we're on the main event. The biggest WrestleMania match of all time, as they've been spouting on the thing. Is Brock Lesnar, who's WWE champion, versus Roman Reigns, who is the Universal champion, with Paul Heyman in his corner. And this is a winner-takes-all match to unify. I thought they'd get both titles, but no, they're unifying the WWE Championship and the WWE Universal Championship, which basically means the person will hold, like, at the end of the night, they'll hold both belts, and then they're going to introduce just one belt that will be kind of like the one belt going forwards, thus ending the brand split, probably. Now, for ages, I've always been saying, Roman Reigns should hold it to like WrestleMania 40, where he loses to Braun Breaker. The issue now that I've recently discovered, and is a good point, is that next year the rumour is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Now, Roman Reigns versus The Rock, if that's for the unified title, that kind of diminishes anybody of getting pushed for the next year, because it means that even if you get pushed, you won't be in the singles title, and even if you go against Roman, you're not winning, because The Rock is kind of going to be there at Mania, supposedly. But then again, Roman could lose the belt, beat Rock, and then win it back, but then you don't. But then who are you going to let Roman lose to? But also, Brock, he's on the run of his career, but if he won, he's ended 2 streaks, and why would you give him that second streak? Because he beat Undertaker, and then Roman Reigns has been undefeated since his return, since SummerSlam. I don't think he's... Well, I don't think he's technically lost, because there was like a 6-man tag, and he lost, but he wasn't pinned. So technically, well, he lost, but he didn't lose in a sense. He has never lost a singles match since his return. Because he returned, he was inserted into the title match, he won, and then has had the title since Payback 2020. Brock, I think, and to be honest, they're very behind Roman, and as I said, there's that Drew-Roman feud, and there isn't a Brock feud at the next pay-per-view, and there'd have to be if he was champion, unless he's doing his, I'm going away for a bit, coming back at Mania, not Mania, SummerSlam. And people won't want that again, they'll turn on Brock again, like they did last time he did this. They don't want to do that again, so I think Roman is winning. That is my final answer. Roman Reigns is winning. Yes, that is all of everything that's coming out of this weekend of wrestling. There's some like Ring of Honor and Impact shows today, but I've never watched an episode of Ring of Honor or Impact ever. So I not care, but I have no knowledge of any wrestlers in that apart from Moose. That's all I know. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. WWE side, because there's not much else this weekend. Not anymore. But yeah. So that is NXT, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2. And it's going to be a very knackering weekend. Yes. Thank you all for watching, if indeed you still are. And I shall see you at some point in the future. Ta-ra!